This is Andrew Paul Cronin, and you're listening to the Q&A with A.P.C, the show that features conversations with artists, cultural figures, policymakers, performers, and other innovators living in Virginia.
It's so amazing how all different types of people will grow their roots out like a tree until the sidewalk bursts into crooked pieces.
Episode 2, Jacki P. Jacki Paolella, or Jacki P, as she's commonly known, is an audio engineer, producer, musician, and composer. She was born in New Jersey, but currently lives in Norfolk, Virginia. She is a member of the electro-pop band DJP and Mr. T, and plays bass guitar in the band White Shades. Jacki P is the owner and operator of Tap Tap Recordings, a recording studio located in Norfolk, Virginia. In early 2015, she received rave reviews as composer and musical director for Virginia Stage Company's production of William Shakespeare's Taming of the Shrew. This song, Connected at the Hips, was written for that show and is from DJP and Mr. T's record, Won't Be Tamed. So you grew up in New Jersey.
Yeah, are we starting? Is it started?
It started. You're the youngest child.
Yeah.
In a major way.
Yes.
How many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters.
What are their ages?
And so my oldest brother, Phil, is probably like 55. I don't know. This is approximate ages. My sister, Gina, who actually lives in Virginia Beach, is maybe like 54, 53. My brother, Chris, is probably like 52. And my sister, Kathleen, is either about to turn 50 or she's about to turn 51, I think. Yeah, so 50s, early 50s.
And you're 29.
And I'm 29, yeah.
So, but it was probably good. I mean, it was good and bad probably to have such.
Yeah.
But they were gone.
Yeah,
when you were
pretty
growing
much.
Up.
I remember I remember my sister Gina lived with us for a little while when I was really young. And same with my brother Chris was there. And then I think some of them would kind of move back in with my parents for like 3 or 6 months or as long as they could handle, like after they would get married or like transitional times or whatever. So I always thought that was great when they were there. Like I was always really excited about it when they would come live with us for a little while. But yeah, in my opinion, it was mostly good. And
They like the older siblings typically, they've gone through all the stuff, they've gotten in trouble, but they also have they have the record collections and all the CDs, and they have all the did they leave stuff like that for you to rummage through?
You know, there were a few records that I appropriated when I was once I started to think records were cool in high school maybe, and my parents had a record player, because I don't think a lot of people's parents necessarily had one, but my parents had been, you know, listening to music like in the 70s or whatever, so they still had this thing left over, and they were like, what, you want that? Okay, sure, whatever, you can have it, we don't care about that. But you know, none of them were really like that into music. So my oldest brother Phil definitely is a big music fan, but he never I never got any of his LPs for whatever reason. I feel like maybe I do have two, and they're just Steve Martin stand-up, which is great.
Right. We've got one of those actually in the crates behind me.
But like a couple years ago or more, I was like, oh, this Talking Heads video from the 80s and this tour and this song, check this out. And he's just like, yeah, I was at that tour. And I was like, oh, okay.
Did your parents listen? Like, was their record collection good for a pretty bad? Because Ashley's parents, my wife Ashley, her parents, like they had the like Led Zeppelin and Beatles and like really great stuff. And my mom and dad, who I love, had Carly Simon, who's great. But you know, there's a difference.
My parents didn't have much at all, unfortunately. There was like some Beatles. Actually, they had a Buddy Holly record that I still have that I'm super stoked on. But like, I just don't think that they really collected that much. I know they had a bunch of cassettes for a while, but I think that they just got rid of those like before I was old enough to want to kind of like go through them all. And then CDs came along, and so I think all the cassettes that we had piled away, I missed that like wave of like rummaging through things. Yeah.
What did your parents do? What do they do?
Yeah, they're retired now, but they both did a number of things. But for all of my life that I can remember, my mom was a customer service rep for M&M Mars. So like the main M&M Mars headquarters is in Hackettstown, New Jersey, where I grew up. So she worked there for as long as I could remember.
So she would answer. So people would call, like they got a bad M&M.
No, I think there were definitely people that handled that, but she was more like she would have specific clients. Like I do the orders for CVS.
Okay, so like bulk shipment,
right?
Contacts,
exactly, and probably some logistical things, or just kind of like keeping track of things. And
did you guys have Mad Candy growing up?
Yes. So like you weren't supposed to bring it out of the building. You could eat as much as you want while you were there, but she would totally sneak some out for me, which was awesome. I did get to go to Bring Your Daughter to Work Day once or twice, and that was like one of the most amazing things.
And like the plant is in the same building as like the office,
yeah, it's all connected. I mean, you have to walk pretty far to get over there, but yeah, it's like there's offices on one side, and then the other side it's just straight up chocolate making.
Does it have a smell?
Oh,
like
absolutely.
Like paper towns have a smell.
Yeah, you would, especially in the winter, and I'm not like really informed enough about science to know why this was happening, or maybe it was just the way the wind blew, but especially in the winter, sometimes you would wake up and you were like, it smells like M&Ms this morning. Yeah, even though we were a good maybe 5 plus miles away from the factory. Yeah, it would just like smell like M&Ms sometimes.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
It is good.
That is good.
Yeah.
So that's mom.
That's mom, yeah. And then dad, among other things, but it's the same again as far as I can remember, worked for UPS, and so I think he started out probably dropping off packages in the brown truck that we all know, and then by the time he was done, he was driving. I guess you just keep driving bigger and bigger trucks as you
That's the progression
progress.
for UPS.
Yeah, because by the time he was done, he was driving those like double tractor trailer type things.
The big 18-wheelers.
Yeah.
But with the two cargo. I always feel like, because I never saw those.
You drove those?
And then I felt like, like when the recession kind of hit, then everyone had to start doing double. And so they just like, we'll just add another whole cargo thing.
I can't imagine.
Which always had like a weird swing, like train kind of component that I would think would be hard to navigate and all that.
Yeah, I think he was definitely over it by the time he was done. But now I see them both having pensions, and they each like separately make probably better incomes than me just by being retired, and you're like, okay, I get it.
Well, UPS and Mars are probably two good, solid, still are
absolutely
companies.
And it's probably not even the same situation if you get hired there like tomorrow, as they had when they started in the 80s. Both of
That's
them.
our burden now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did you ever get to ride in the truck? Like the OG truck?
I think there was a bring your daughter to work day experience there as well.
You're the best of those.
Yeah, totally. But I was a lot younger, so I barely remember it for UPS. But I remember being able to get in a truck one day.
I always love the UPS drivers because they always have the door open. I know they have a door, but they always leave it open, which has like a cool Jeep Wrangler kind of
totally
Daisy Duke kind of just like let it go.
Yeah,
because you're in and out.
Why close the door every time? Yeah, I wouldn't either.
So you moved here to Norfolk because of your sister.
Yes.
And why did she move to Norfolk?
She moved to Norfolk, I think, because she wanted to be a physical therapist, and I think ODU just like was one of the schools she was looking at and fit her.
So it's college thing.
Yeah.
What was so you were in a punk band in high school?
Yeah, like a post-punk band, I guess you would say. We weren't I can't own being a total punk band. What
did you play in the band?
And I played bass in that band.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the name of the band?
It was called The Domestics. I don't know where the name came from. And they were just like, we need a bassist. We're gonna learn a Cure cover. I was like, I'm in.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
What was high school? I mean, did you like high school? Grades, relationships, trouble?
Sure, definitely got into my share of trouble and did the whole kind of like, oh, you're so smart and you test so well, but why don't you do your work? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Definitely spent some time like, just not focusing on schoolwork. I'm kind of glad I got that out of the way in high school, though. I think some people go through that later in life when it can cause like more problems for you, because at least you could be tethered to your parents and there's not a whole lot of consequences for you dropping the ball.
Public high school? Public high school,
yeah. Warren Hills Regional High School.
What was your mascot?
It's so funny because I have a friend, Bryn, here, and she has the same mascot. It's a blue streak. It's just a lightning bolt, a blue lightning bolt. It's the worst mascot.
So my high school also has a pretty bad mascot, which we were the Annandale Atoms, ATOMS, like the molecule, or I don't know if it's a molecule. I don't know anything about science either.
You guys were nerds.
No, some were. I was a band nerd. We had our mascot was a guy, a student but this person wore a silver wetsuit looking thing, and then they had three hula hoops.
Neoprene.
Like around, so he was the atom.
Did he hula hoop?
No, it was the hula hoops were tied around the person in like an atom sort of way.
Nice.
Like the atom, make it look like that. And he would run around and do that.
And when you got to that section in chemistry class, they would bring him in and be like, this is how this works.
Did the blue streak ever manifest itself at the football game?
Yeah, and my friend Shane was actually the blue streak a couple times. I can't remember exactly what it looked like, but I'm pretty sure it was just like a blue guy with like eyes.
Right.
And you're just like, yeah. wear a streak.
It makes me think of poop and
Absolutely.
diapers, and maybe that's because I have a baby.
Have
but
you ever
does it
seen
make you think of that too?
streaks? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that movie Little Dizzle? I
No.
know you haven't, but I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix, and you probably, everyone
Little
listening to
Dizzle?
this should watch it. Yeah,
Okay.
because blue streaks in relation to poop, and it's really, I swear it's relevant. Actually, the movie is so weird.
Wait,
but
are there
it's
blue streaks?
It's pretty good.
Poop streaks that are blue in the movie?
Yes, and like just the main, like the beginning premise of the movie is that this company makes these cookies, these chocolate chip cookies that when you eat them they like heat up in your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I can tell you because I don't want to spoil it, but that's where it all starts.
I'm gonna one more time. I'm gonna write that down.
Little Dizzle.
Little Dizzle. Sometimes when people recommend stuff on Netflix, I go to it and then it's not on Netflix anymore. Have you had that?
Absolutely, yeah.
I wish that wouldn't happen.
I hope Little Dizzle's still on there for your sake.
I'm gonna look it up.
For all of our sake.
So was the band? So you started, I guess, in New Jersey with Cakewalk and a plastic microphone.
Yeah.
That's
That's
Cakewalk
true.
is a recording software program.
Yeah.
And so you would
yes.
record your guitar and your voice.
Yeah.
That's right?
An acoustic. Yeah. Yes, it is.
And you liked the sound of that. It was fun and amazing.
It was fun to like be. I think I probably either stole that software or like somehow like got through the serial key part where like you did the demo and they just didn't have things locked down as much. Because like the idea of buying something back then was just this like this insurmountable, I can't buy software for a thing. Yeah, so I was like super stoked that I even had access to it at all.
What kind of computer was it?
It was like a Packard Bell. Do you remember that company?
Yes, I do, of course.
Yeah. It was a Packard Bell from 96 maybe.
And you remember Gateway computers?
Yeah.
It had like the cow box.
Mm-hmm.
And they seemed to do so well.
They did do so well. And
then
my friend's dad had like 2 computers and it was like, what? That's crazy. Yeah, and then what happened?
I don't know what
Gateway.
happened, but I saw a sign for...
They did do
I want
well.
to say it was like a catering company or a limousine company or something. And it was the exact same font of Gateway.
Stop.
Yeah, like in Virginia Beach. And I was like, I wonder if they... Like, is that still like if the company is no more, can you still just rip their logo off?
Maybe it's just that company. Maybe it's just Gateway. Maybe they just like switched streams.
It went limos.
Switched lanes. Yeah.
Cow limos.
So, but no, I don't think you can take their like image and their branding. But like if you're in different industries, supposedly you're like able to call your company whatever you want. Because I read or listened to most of Steve Jobs' biography, and Apple Records at the time was like, you can't call it that. And they're like, no, it's a computer, it's different.
Right.
But now iTunes, and they're like totally
Right.
infringing on that, but it's too late.
Do you still have any of your Cakewalk plastic mic recordings?
Wow. I don't think so. That's kind of a bummer, isn't it?
Yeah, that is a bummer.
Yeah. There's a small possibility that I might have that on a disc somewhere. It's very small.
So
No. No, I do actually. Yeah, there are some things on the internet that were like from a later iteration of that, like a couple years after it started, called DJ Over Chewed Bubblegum. And there was this website called, I think it was like mp3.com or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can probably find it actually if you search DJ Over Chewed Bubblegum.
I'm bummed I didn't find it because I
It's
looked.
okay.
I was looking. I've been looking.
I could probably find it for you.
So you came down here. You went to Old Dominion for English. Professional
Yeah.
writing was your major. You had a class with my wife.
Yeah.
She told me a funny story. Can I tell you that? I'm going to tell you the story.
Yeah, please
It's not a well.
This is
So you were.
embarrassing.
I think you were British Lit. You were sleeping. And you woke up, and you had the imprint of, I don't know. It was either like the rings of the binder or like stuff she said on your face. Does that sound
Why
like
did
you?
she like me at all? Why
Well, that
did
sounds
she
like
want to be my friend?
I don't know. British lit can be kind of like that. You
It
know?
was like actually our British lit teacher was like pretty on point and like a really kind of like beautiful, like bright and cheery woman who actually enjoyed what she did for a living, which
Maybe
was pretty
it
cool.
wasn't British lit.
No,
I think
it
it
could have been. Or we had a really terrible class together too, World Lit. But I could have been sleeping in any of those classes.
Are you a sleeper?
Yeah.
In class, are you?
Sometimes if it starts to come on, like I can't. There's nothing I can do.
Can you sleep on planes and on buses or trains?
Yeah.
Next to strangers?
Yes.
You can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And my mom and my sister are the same way. Like we can't finish movies most of the time at night if you're on the couch,
Right.
and it's dark. Like
That can be a really bad relationship thing.
really
I
can't.
kind of fell into that a few years ago. You know, a movie together with your
right.
partner
That's
is like
what
a
you're
thing.
doing.
It's like this is our night, and then
Yeah.
and then if you don't finish the movie and,
And
the other person, it's kind of like you like
does.
left them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you like? I went to Old Dominion. I got a degree in communications
Yeah.
and film studies in 2002. You were 2007, class of.
Yeah.
Is that right?
When did you graduate?
2002.
2002.
It should have
Okay,
been
so we missed
2000.
each other.
So I started in 96, but I got kicked out after my first year. I had a
out.
0.8 GPA.
Holy crap.
I didn't buy a book.
Why did you even go? Why did you go?
Well, just because that was what you did. You graduated and
Yeah.
high school and then went to college. And I shouldn't have gone my first year. It was just too
Well, I mean, everybody
too much freedom.
Right, and everybody's just like telling you that you need to do that or else you're going to burn in hell.
Well, it was just. I mean, that was just what was expected, and not in a pressure,
Right.
not in a pressure.
No,
sort of
no,
way,
but it was just kind of like this is the
what
next
you
step.
did.
Yeah.
Um,
And you probably just didn't know what you wanted.
I didn't know what I wanted to do. Everything
and-
was so fun to do because we would be in the
Yeah.
dorm. I lived in the dorms, and
That's
someone
part of it, too, if
someone
you
would
live on
come by
campus.
and be like, "Hey, you want to go for a drive?" And
You're like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Like,
And
I
then-
don't even have to talk to anybody about this.
Right.
Like, what time are we going to be back? It doesn't matter.
And I didn't. So I had to. I don't know. I got kicked out for a year. I worked at Starbucks on Colley Avenue for a little while and went to TCC. But all my credits didn't transfer from TCC because there were all those like non-credit classes. So
Yeah.
that was sort of a waste. And I went
Oh,
back.
it sucks.
But then I recommitted myself. and-
Yeah, you seem like you're kind of pretty on point these
Oh, thank
days.
you.
Yeah.
Old Dominion was tough. I feel like it's gotten better, but it was always hard when I was there to do anything other than like if you wanted to get out of a class or to kind of do anything with the registrar's office.
Oh,
They
yeah.
always seemed like they did not want
they,
you.
They didn't want you to talk to them, and they didn't also
Did you
really
feel
know
like
what
that?
was going on. Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
I had a great advisor though that really helped me navigate sort of that.
That's good. That's good.
But that was your experience too?
There was really no one to be like, you should try this. Like, or yeah, I mean, I was never
They never
exposed to the
Right.
options.
They
yeah.
never seemed ready for the kids.
Yeah, and they're just
They
like,
never seemed ready for the
constantly-
students.
They're constantly behind.
There's
supposedly some really great programs there though, and I had some amazing teachers in my English program. I had some amazingly terrible ones, but
Yeah, well, it just seemed like you had to come with your own. You had to come with it,
yeah.
and then when you came
But
with
then
it,
like the level of academia there and the nature of their programs it doesn't really attract that type of
Right.
person.
but you went into English and professional writing because music. You just didn't feel like music was a viable thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But did you play music?
I did.
During that,
That's
you
probably
did?
why I was sleeping so much, because I would go jam all night. I mean, among other things, of course.
Sure.
Like I wasn't just working all the time or whatever. Like there was definitely debauchery and drinking and everything you do in college, and eating Taco Bell at like weird hours. But yeah, I would come and try to somehow do schoolwork and also like learn how to improvise on this instrument or that instrument
Right.
with friends. Yeah.
Right. And then, so you were an accounting special after graduation.
Yeah.
I read. So you were an accounting specialist for a property management company.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with English or music.
I know.
So how did that happen?
It was just kind of like I wanted to be down here. I didn't want to be in Hackettstown anymore, which if you grew
So
up there,
was
you
this
would kind of
prior to-
understand. So like I graduated college, I applied for a few things like like even internships, like magazine. I thought I would graduate with my English degree and be a professional writer and like make a pretty good living, and then I was like, oh, you kind of have to have 2 degrees for that, a degree in writing and one in whatever field you're writing for, and like no one ever mentioned that to me, or like I just didn't take advantage of the guidance that was available to me like in college at the time, which I'm glad, because I probably wouldn't be where I am. But
and as we just talked about, there wasn't a whole lot of guidance.
There wasn't a whole lot of guidance, no. But I was just like, yeah, I'll find a writing job. I'll do a boring writing job, and then because no one wants to do those, and then I'll make money and it'll be fine.
Yes.
And just that didn't pan out at all.
Of course that didn't pan out.
Well, actually, you know what? It did, because I wrote resumes for this guy in Newport News for a good couple months, and he was insane. So I had to get out of there like as quickly as possible. But I actually did get a job writing right after college, which like I didn't realize like how lucky I was to get something, if you could call resumes writing.
Right.
Yeah.
So you would write resumes for other people?
Yeah, for other people.
And they would send you like,
but I know, like this college
this
graduate, right? Like I just got out of college, and then I'm deciding these people who have like 20 years of experience. I'm like, sure, I'll write your resume and help you get this job.
Was there a graphic design element to that too?
Yeah, a little bit. Yes. Oh, and then I had to do his graphic design too, because he didn't know how to like do anything. Except for like make phone calls, I guess, and like be crazy, be insane, and but he would like buy me lunch pretty often, so I was like stuck around. There were perks, right? There were. Well,
he was smart enough to hire you.
In the form of Chick-fil-A and. Nice. No, and he would. Yeah, he needed me to like redo his forms and stuff, and I would just get really frustrated, because he was like he was like the most indecisive like art director, right? Like he'd want a certain thing, and then you'd do it, and then he'd be like, this is too big. And I'd be like, okay, I'll make it smaller. I'd be like, no, it's too small. I'd be like, I hate you.
Was it just you two?
Pretty much. There was this guy, Roberto, who was like his friend, who would do these make menus for people for like Mexican restaurants.
Yes.
Like he would do their menus.
Right.
Like this is a thing. And so he was like a graphic designer, but he really just kind of had this menu template that he would like tailor a little bit for people. It was so weird. And he was so annoying, and he would come and like sit at my desk sometimes and like work on his work. And I'd be like, what? Roberto, like I have to get this resume done.
If you were to go,
be like, David, how am I supposed to get to this deadline? Like Roberto's at my desk, and Roberto would be like, here, go get me a Snickers bar. You could buy one for yourself too. And I'd be like, fine. And then I'd get a Snickers bar. I remember I got him a Snickers bar one day, and he put the entire thing in his mouth and like ate it in one bite. And I was just like, I'm out of here.
And you're like, that's not even a Mars product. You know, Mars is so much better, right?
Snickers is Mars.
Is it Mars?
Mm-hmm.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Would you be able to recognize Roberto's work at a restaurant? If you were sitting at a restaurant and the menu was delivered in front of you,
I just feel like
would you know that was a Roberto?
I honestly think Roberto's work wasn't even Roberto's work. Like I feel like he just got a template off the internet.
It's like clip art.
Yeah, total clip art.
Tell me about the accounting specialist.
Oh yeah, okay. So this place. So then I like had the resume job, and I met Ashley Berkman, and I was just like, I just wanted to kind of do whatever it took to be on my own and like be stable and have my own apartment. So I worked at this place called autoextra.com downtown. I wanted to be like a marketing person, because I was like English, marketing, writing. There was like a blog. There was like a blogging element involved. Okay. And I was perfect for it, but they gave it to somebody else with a little bit more experience. But they had a foosball table in the office, and the guy who interviewed me was really freaking cool. And there were a lot of people that were cool, and they seemed to really like me a lot. So I was like, whoa. And they were like, well, I mean, some other stuff is opening up if you want to just like idle there until maybe like something more in your field opens up. And it was like customer retention. And I was like, well, how much is it? And my parents were like, yes, benefits. You have benefits. Like, you have to do this. Oh, my God.
You needed the stability.
Yeah. And they were like, oh, and you're working downtown, and you're doing such a good job. You know what I mean? It was just like, in their eyes, like, that was like, I was reaching all the goals that you were supposed to reach. So I did customer retention, which was, I mean, I was good at it, and they liked me. And like, oh, you're employee of the month. And we had a foosball. We played foosball on break. which I was like, I'm super into foosball. Defense.
Foosball's hard. It's really hard.
It is hard.
It's never been. I'd rather play normal soccer, but it's hard. It's too. I don't know. Maybe I have bad wrists.
There's a lot of accuracy involved, and then like sometimes if somebody has like a move that like you can't wrap your head around, it's over. Like you can never beat them.
Like a double pass.
Just like, or like this, there was this one guy that had this one angle shot that I just like every time it got me every time, and I just couldn't play with him anymore because like I could never figure it out. Like it was over. Like neither of us wanted to play together because we just knew it was over.
Would you ever be like, all right, I'll play, but you can't do the move?
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, he would never agree to that.
No, it's probably better.
But anyway.
Never agree to that.
Yeah, so I actually kind of liked it there. And like,
well, they must have liked you if they were like, well, we don't have you can just hang and
they
do this.
Did. And it was like, I was still living with my sister at the time. So it was like 5 minutes away in downtown. And it just seemed like a really kind of like a balanced kind of like, I don't know, life was just kind of like, very like plotted out,
right?
And it was just like, here I go, and it kind of felt good at the time, and I was like, wow, I actually did all the things I was supposed to do, and then everybody got laid off one day.
So when you were at Studio Center, so my understanding of Studio Center is a lot of it is sort of local DJs who come and get hired and sort of sit in and record spots.
So
or
yeah,
is that kind
sometimes they're DJs. But usually they're like actors, and usually they're specifically voiceover actors because it's like a very specific skill that I think can be learned. I think some people are born with like a golden voice or whatever, but I think you can just learn it and you start to kind of hear how you sound through headphones, blah, blah, blah. So there's like 5 or 6 producers in there with their own, they each have their own like little studio. And then these actors come in and they read spots, and then so they'll audition, right? So the auditions guy will get like 20 auditions, and then he'll put them up on the internet because such and such company wants somebody to read their spot, and then the company will listen to all 20 and be like, oh, I like this one. And they can also do auditions. The website's like a central website, and they also have a studio center in Memphis. Actually, I don't know if they have the Memphis one anymore, but they have one in New York and in LA and in Las Vegas. So they'll get people from all around the country to do these spots, and then the company comes in and picks their favorite one, and then like the producers, they'll do a thing and they're on the phone with the client, and then so they're like clients on the speakerphone, and then the talent in the room, and then they're this kind of like liaison between what the client wants and how they're supposed to read it and everything, and then get off the phone, put it together real quick, ship it out.
Were you doing the levels, or were you voice talent, or did you do
I was there like on the production side. Which like even when I started, they were like, yeah, we don't have a lot of audio interns because it's a dying art. And I was
Is that what they said?
Yeah.
Welcome.
Those words, yeah. And I was like, great, let me on this sinking ship.
Yeah, that was my experience in radio a little bit. Yeah. So welcome to our sinking ship.
Yes.
Have a seat.
It's exciting.
But you learned. I mean, was that the first time? One of the first times you were able to sit down at a real kind of console.
Exactly.
Kind of.
Yeah. And I barely got my hands on it because I think I wasn't in school for it. And so I was treated a little bit differently, and I was already kind of had a head on my shoulders. I felt like some of the other interns were just kind of like, that the amoeba thing where you're just kind of like, oh, I'm in an internship now.
Well, and you had the experience. You had work experience, and like you'd experienced the work the
workflow, and
capital
like
W work.
Yeah, finishing something. So I would go to the people and be like, what needs to get done? Like, I'm not just gonna sit here the entire time. Like, I can't.
And you you had experienced like the kind of standard workplace environment.
Yeah.
And even though it was a sinking ship, you're probably like, well, hey, like I've seen the other side, and I'm gonna like,
exactly.
It may be sinking, but like
I'm a little bit more
strong arms to
motivated.
paddle it, kind of keep it up.
Exactly. And they're actually doing fine though, and people still need radio spots, and they do spots for TV as well,
Yeah.
and like
Sure.
things that aren't syncing. So we still need content. It's like, I don't know why everything is syncing, because everybody loves content all the time. But yeah.
So did you start Tap Tap Studios?
So yeah, then I did the internship, and then I kind of saw that was even like another just different grind, except for you had a mixing board in front of you. And I was like, cool. I mean, honestly, I would still maybe love to work there someday when I'm a little bit older, and I wanted maybe with some more stability, or just like less unknowns, because they just come to work. They see what sessions they have, they get them done, they go to lunch, and then they do their afternoon, and then they leave.
Right.
It's kind of cool.
Jackie,
Yeah.
That's not what you want.
That's not really what I want.
That's not what you want.
Exactly.
Studio Center is great, but life isn't what you want.
No. So yeah, then I started, and then there's no studios around here that'll hire somebody with no experience or even give you an internship. You can't even find an internship in a recording studio within like a 50-mile radius around here.
So you started your own.
So I was just like, I'll start my own.
You can say fuck it.
Can I?
Yeah.
Fuck it.
There you
I'll
go. start
my own.
And you did in your apartment.
Yeah. I definitely had a lot of encouragement from my girlfriend at the time too, and a lot of people in my life.
What year was this?
This was probably, I started doing
Roundabout?
that like around about 2010 was when I started the internship, yeah. And then I found out that I did have a knack for it. I mean, I had been doing it, like moonlighting, doing it for a long time and starting to get things to sound a little bit better. Everything you do sounds terrible when you first start. So I definitely had experience, and then I had the work experience of like sitting. Just a lot of it really is just sitting down and getting it done. It's not all magic, right?
Right.
There's just
You work
yeah.
at it. And so you would be recording. You would be just recording your own music.
Right,
And you had friends
that's
who
how
maybe come over and you would play.
Exactly.
But was it a structured? Was it just kind of you at night? Like just kind of jamming with your, or did you have a band at the time?
So yeah, like and then like one of my friends, Rex Bonney, was into it, and I dated this guy, Aaron Kelly, who I think Ashley also knew at the time. They were both into it as hobbyists and like actually pretty accomplished. There were just like a couple friends that I had made probably because of that, you know what I mean? And they were doing it for fun or sort of professionally or sort of maybe had a thing or two here that did a thing or whatever. So yeah, I would record my friends, and yeah, I think I actually did end up recording Rex one time. Oh, and then Ashley and I, when we rode our bikes across the country in 2009, she also got a little grant to make a documentary about it, and so I was like, oh, I'm going to score the thing. So that was kind of like, oh, this music's actually going to be in something that people are going to see.
Destination for it.
Yeah. So that was kind of cool. So that's when things started to sound a little bit better. And then the first good sounding thing I did was Sky Zen.
I was just going to talk about your last name. So I was looking around. Is it Paolella?
Yeah, Paolella.
But it's nowhere. Like, there's no phonetic spelling. And there's been people who have written a lot about you. And
Are there?
Yeah, there is. There's stuff out there.
Good.
Well, the WHR The Scene.
Oh, yeah.
That was a great piece.
They're awesome.
But it wasn't mentioned there either. So anyway, is that why it's Jackie P? Just because it's Paolella?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, a lot of people called me Jackie P in high school. Yeah, Paolella, which is Americanized. Like, I feel like it's probably like Paolella or whatever. Yeah, but yeah, people call me Jackie P to not have to like go through all of that, which I'm fine with.
So I went to O'Connoroo to watch DJ P and Mr. T, and I'm going to read you some of the notes that I wrote, and then you can jump in at any time. Okay, ready?
Okay, cool.
All right, so lots of chords.
Uh-huh. Oh,
There's
cables as in
and
cables.
chords. Yes,
it was like, yeah, like not like an A sharp.
No, not like, not like A major. Lots of cables.
Yeah,
So-
lots of cables. Ooh, yeah.
What are you thinking about when you're plugging in all those cables? Because there's a lot of plugging
Yeah,
in
it is.
cables.
It is second nature now. But like we have like, first of all, I have a signal flow where I have like two different. I have a Roland Juno GI, so I have like my digital keyboard with certain sounds and on there, and then I have this Dave Smith Mofo, which is like an analog synth, but it's a mono synth, so it's not always super versatile, even though it sounds great. But we realized that the Mofo sounds really good through a guitar pedal and a delay pedal specifically, because it has no effects on it. So once you put effects on this little analog synth, like, it sounds great. And Tyler with our new set, we've like timed the delay to all these different songs. So he's got whatever he's got going on over there, he needs to switch to his presets for different songs where they're timed to the tempo. But that pedal has 2 inputs, so I can scoot the Mofo in there too. So I have all these time delays now on the Mofo, and not me having to think about an extra step.
Now, is that something, Tyler's the guitarist?
Yeah, so he's
player.
the guitarist now, yes. Mm-hmm.
So is that something you guys work out together? Like how much delay it has, or like how much like reverb you want, or
no,
like
basically
much, like,
I'm just like,
you?
I was able to just kind of like scoot on to the guitar tone, and so that is me, because these particular songs in our new set were for Taming of the Shrew for Virginia Stage Company, and so I was commissioned to write them, and it was like more my thing because it's what I do now, and they just, Tyler and Chuck just don't have as much time, but also like I couldn't really pay them based on the budget that I had, so it's just like, I'm gonna do this thing myself. So I had shaped the guitar tones like earlier in the game for the recordings, and so then I just was able to recreate them on this one specific pedal that Boss makes as like a giga delay,
Okay.
with this like modulation
What
delay.
color is that one?
It's white.
Don't
and
you
it's
love the
got
colors of the Boss pedals?
Yeah, I do
do
actually. And so I was like stoked on this pedal because you could program tempos, and so you could pull stuff up because we're always on constant tempos.
Right.
But also the modulation was like a huge influence on all the guitar tones for the stuff on the Won't Be Tamed record.
So what are you thinking about when you're plugging all those cables in?
So yeah, I'm just thinking,
Because it took a little while. It took a while.
Yeah. I just have to focus and make sure you don't make any mistakes. Yeah, I just think about where the signal's going, like where is it starting and where does it need to eventually get to.
Because of force of habit, you remember sort of this goes here, or did you have to like take a picture at one time and kind of take it on your iPhone and like bring it with you?
Force of habit at this point.
Is what it is.
Yeah.
You did makeup. You put on makeup and earrings after the audio was set up. I don't know if that was something
Yeah,
you
that
could
is
see.
true. Yeah, that is true. Well, yeah, because you're supposed to perform, and then we're at this level where you have to like carry all your own stuff and like get all sweaty.
I thought it was cool or different in a way, because you could have gone like you could have ducked back behind like where the brewery thing was. But because like you put the makeup and earrings on exactly like where 10 minutes later you were standing up to perform. So like it's like
Shit, yeah, I did. Oh, the bathroom situation was like terrible that day. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
it's a beer.
Oh yeah, I
fest.
could have ducked back there, but I was just like, nah.
I thought that was really
It's
cool.
my space. Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. My lack of fucks to give about that. Yeah.
I wrote down driving beat and lyrics. Count to 10 had a really intricate beat that I really loved.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite right now.
So do you ever change the beat, or which for lack of a better term, or the tempo of a song in a live setting from maybe what was recorded?
No, actually, well, not in this current set, but we used to have a few variable tempos. Yeah.
Okay.
But not anymore.
Great harmonies. I wrote down, do you record the tracks and then lay down the vocals, but you do it's instrumentation comes first,
Yeah.
and then lyrics. Is that always the case?
It's like 95% the case, yeah.
What are you doing when you're thinking about lyrics?
Physically?
Are you on the couch? Are you standing? Or do you type on a computer?
Yeah, no, I'm usually writing them. Actually, for Taming of the Shrew, I would
Pencil or pen?
Pen, sometimes pencil. I don't have, actually what needs to happen for me is I have to kind of mix up the process a little bit, especially if I'm doing, like, this was like a set of songs, like I had to get like 5 done at a time. And a lot of times I'll come out with 1 every couple months, right? So this was like, you have to do these 5 and they have to be done by such and such date. So I would lock myself in tap usually, and like have to get to this kind of state, which I'm trying to not have to do this anymore because it's like really not a sustainable way to work. But like it would just, a lot of them would come out at like 3 a.m. or like you get to the fuck it kind of point in the night where you're just like, you have to write something now. Like you either have to go to sleep or eat food or write something now, and your deadline might be like tomorrow, so you don't have a choice. So just get it out, and don't think about it too much. Or sometimes I'll go to like a cafe just to have like a different atmosphere, like if you've ever heard that, like as a writer, to just go to a different place and then you might feel differently.
Well, you said art's never finished, so how do you know when it's finished?
Well, typically for me, I know it's finished because like I'm out of time.
So it's a deadline thing.
Yeah.
Do you play it for people? And do you get input, or do you kind of not?
Well, for Taming of the Shrew, I would send everything to Patrick Mullins, who was like actually a really, really, I mean, I was lucky because he liked almost everything I did like the first time. And that like it's dumb, but that really does put wind in your sails when somebody's like, this is great. And
it
not
really is great.
Thank you so much.
It really is.
I some days I think it is, and some days I'm like, this is okay. But like, so he always gave me really great feedback, and then you'd be like, okay, I'm not crazy. The thing I just did is kind of a little crazy, and so let's see how it flies. And usually with him it did. So, and then yeah, like it's weird because there's some people you really want honest feedback, but there's some points in the process where you can't get criticism because you're just barely getting through like your own restrictions and things that are stopping you from getting it done. So you can't have somebody kind of like dampening that at certain moments. Sometimes you know that there's people that are going to be like, you're doing a great job, and you have to play it for them specifically. Yeah.
Just to keep the sale.
Yeah, exactly.
Billowy.
Yeah.
There was a live woodblock
claves.
Yes,
yeah.
And I was like, I loved it because I played percussion, which I guess I should have known the term, but
no, I didn't know it.
But I was like, what the fuck? Like, because like you could totally create that sound digitally, right? But then for whatever reason you had it live, and it was kind of a mind fuck for me.
That was Tyler and Chuck actually that made that happen, and I'm really, really glad that they did, and everybody loves those claves, including me, and they're really hard to play, by the way.
But you could have done that digitally,
It
right?
was digital, yeah.
Okay.
It was a digital sound, yeah. It was like some kind of woodblock with a ton of reverb or whatever, blah, blah. And so then, but they had the idea to do it. I think Chuck had the claves. You had
a yellow Les Paul for a while.
Yeah, that was.
And now you have a white Fender Telecaster.
Yeah, the Les Paul was actually Rex's, who I mentioned earlier, and it was like a Japanese copy of a Les Paul. Okay. It sounded really cool, actually. Yeah. And the Telecaster.
Was it an Epiphone or like a Gibson kind of like pirated kind of thing?
I think it was like a pirated Gibson thing. I don't think it was. It was like maybe semi-hollow body. It was pretty cool.
What's the story with the Telecaster?
Telecaster is really cool.
It's an American made?
I sold a guy a pedal, and he has so many. I can't believe how many pedals. It was amazing. But he also would redo these guitars. He would like take guitars, take them apart, fix the things, put new parts, and then he was like a car adjuster. Yeah, you guys have that in common, right? And he would have them use the car paint on these guitars that he would redo. So he like sanded this one down to like do that, and then he was like, oh, but then it was cool, and it's like relic or whatever, like stupid, you pay extra for relic at Guitar Center or whatever. Right, yeah. So I was into it. I thought it was really cool looking, and so it was Mexican, and then he put American parts in it, and like some of the things, like the switches are backwards, or the knobs are backwards, like the tone knob is like closer to where you're playing so that you can fuss with it.
Different pickups, switched out the pickups?
He switched it to standard American pickups, and then the neck is like a Mexican neck, but it's like vintage, so it's a really, really cool guitar. I love it. Yeah,
it looks really cool.
Yeah, I love it so much.
I've never played a Telecaster. I have a Les Paul.
Nice.
Have you ever had an experience where you can't get the sound in your head?
Yeah, all the time. I think that's just like what you're doing is you're just constantly trying to chase what's in your head. Yeah.
It's part of the fun.
Yeah.
Part of the pull.
As you get like more experience, you can actually get what you want, which is nice.
Are you doing any writing, fiction sort of writing?
No, I think maybe someday I will, but I just don't have the drive for it right now, or the time.
I looked up White Shades quite a bit, and it was hard to get a lot of audio. There's a few things on YouTube.
We're being very strategic because we're not sure how we want to try to do. We want to try to really get White Shades off the ground and in a position to tour and play festivals. So there's some strategy behind when you release things and how. And so we don't even have our full length recorded yet, and like we're sort of talking to a PR company, and they suggested that maybe we don't release a single. But honestly, we haven't even really had that conversation with them yet. We just kind of like keep missing each other, and we're focusing on other things like recording right now. And it's kind of just like seems a little silly to put the cart before the horse, but you do have to like think about that stuff before your record's even done, like months before.
The drummer was amazing, and the
Yeah,
guitar,
he's
the sounds
great.
that were coming out of that guitar.
I know, they're both really great, and we've all been doing it for 15, 20 years, and we all agree that there's something really, really special about White Shades for all of us. We've all been in a ton of bands. Josh has been in a ton of bands. And just for whatever reason, this has a thing that we can all kind of like recognize without jinxing it. Yeah.
So if people want to find out more about White Shades,
yeah, our Facebook page is the best and the only place to go right now. And it's spelled WYTESHAYDS. So that you can actually find it if you search for it and not get a bunch of shades, not get a bunch of things from Home Depot or Bed Bath & Beyond.
So what's next for DJP and Mr. T?
DJP and Mr. T is going to open for En Vogue at our Pride Fest.
At the Pride Fest.
Yeah. Up. Oh yeah. That's so exciting.
That's gonna be so rad.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I saw in Beer
possible?
magazine the ad for Pride Fest, and I saw En Vogue, who looked amazing.
Mm-hmm. They all look great.
They look
still
incredible.
Yeah.
That's gonna be awesome. When is that?
Pride Fest I think is June 27th. That's a good question.
It's one of the big ones. Every year it gets bigger and better.
Yeah, it's actually like in the mix of Pride Fests. We have a pretty good one as far as U.S. Pride Fests go, because we're like on the water and you can like roll up in your boat with a rainbow flag and
right.
It's a boat parade with gays. Like yes.
Is White Shades going to be playing
Pride Fest? White Shades. Next thing for White Shades is Coastal Fest on June 20th, and which is like in Hampton. We're working on just trying to get a little bit more of our ducks in a row as far as like being a business and with White Shades, and maybe and ideally getting a management company and a booking agent and everything like that, so that we don't have to do all this DIY stuff that. Whereas I feel like it really did suit DJP and Mr. T in a lot of ways. It's just very exhausting, and like if you don't, I don't want to focus on that stuff really. Like when it comes to being an artist, like I don't want to focus on the business side.
But is it going to be hard to sort of relinquish control of those things?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, I really appreciate it, Jacki.
Yes. I am delighted about how much you knew about where I grew up and my family and stuff. That was really fun.
It's been fun.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming.
This is Andrew Paul Cronin, and you've been listening to the Q&A with A.P.C. To hear archived episodes, go to soundcloud.com/QAAPC or subscribe to the show on iTunes. For exclusive content, including upcoming shows, behind-the-scenes pictures, and more, follow the show on Instagram at instagram.com/QAAPC.